you miss me? If you've never been to Las Vegas, Nevada, you definitely have to make a trip out there. Me and my boyfriend had a ball in Vegas. We had so much fun. I did not want to come back home. I literally wanted to move to Vegas. That's how much fun I had. We won some, we lost some, but we won more than we lost, and we had a good damn time doing it. So anyways, I'm glad to be back. I've gotten so many YouTube requests and a lot of messages. I'm still going through all my messages because I took a break from everything for the past 4 or 5 days. I didn't want to be bothered. I was just posting messages and tweets and stuff like that, but I wasn't really replying back to anyone, so don't take it personal. I was busy enjoying my vacation. So anyway, shout out to Persuasion Roshan, and I don't know if I said your name right, but I want to know my opinion on the man who slapped the baby on the Delta Airlines flight. So I found this situation crazy. We heard about it while we was in Vegas at our hotel room. It was all over the news. And what's crazy is that, because, I do like to travel. I do fly a lot. And you do have babies who cry on the plane and who are kind of loud and rambunctious and stuff like that. And my kids fly a lot. When we lived in North Carolina, I flew my kids to Minnesota at least once or twice a year. But I remember people always complimenting my kids on how well behaved they were on the plane. This is when they were little, like 3 and 4 years old. Like, wow, they sit really still. They're really quiet. You had some really good kids. So that always made me feel good when strangers would come up and give me props on my kids not being terrors on the plane. So anyways, what I find funny about this story is that there's this angry old white man named Joe Hadley. And basically the mom says that she was holding her 19-month-old baby, and he started getting, kind of antsy. The plane was getting ready to land, and I guess maybe his ears were popping. It was kind of bothering him, so he started crying. And this angry white man turns to her and says, "You shut that nigger baby up." And the mother doesn't do anything the first time he called her son a nigger baby. I guess she proceeds to ignore him. And he tells her again, "You shut that nigger baby up." Then he proceeds to slap the shit out the 2-year-old like he was a grown man. This is crazy because this is the second story I've done on angry white men slapping babies. If you guys remember back in 2008, I did a story about an old white man who slapped the hell out of a baby, not once, not twice, but 4 fucking times. Slapped the baby 4 times across the face because the baby was crying in Walmart. And I guess what bothers me about these situations is, as a mother, you're supposed to protect your child by any means necessary. So my thing is, had he called one of my kids, one of the Stewart kids, a nigger, I'd have flipped out on him. He wouldn't have been able to call my child a nigger the second time around, let alone slap my child. And I'm going to go ahead and play the news clip for you guys, and I'm going to come back with my commentary.
It is a story that is attracting national attention. A toddler slapped by a passenger aboard a Delta flight from Minneapolis to Atlanta.
The incident happened last Friday, and tonight, for the first time, we're hearing from the parents. They sat down exclusively with our Dave Berger. And Dave, what are they saying tonight?
Well, Blake, that man who allegedly assaulted this toddler has been suspended from his job where he's the president of an aerospace company in Idaho. He's now facing federal assault charges, but for the Bennett family of Shoreview, they look forward to moving on from a flight last Friday, one they'd like to forget about.
Sing Twinkle, 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 Light.
Jonah Bennett is a smart and smiley 19-month-old.
Big kiss. Mwah.
But it's what happened on a Delta flight that has Jonah's parents doing anything but smile.
He hit a child, and that he said what he said, and thought it's disgusting.
Jessica Bennett and her son were flying to Atlanta and sat next to this man, 60-year-old Joe Huntley of Idaho.
He was just being rude and belligerent, and I just felt very uncomfortable.
She says Huntley reeked of alcohol and continued to drink on board. But as the plane began to descend, Jonah got fussy, and the already uncomfortable flight got even worse.
I was having trouble comforting him, and that's when the guy had made his comment to me.
As court documents state, this is when Huntley allegedly told Jessica to, quote, shut that N-word baby up. But it didn't end there. Huntley used the racial slur a second time and then allegedly slapped Jonah, hitting him in the eye.
I could not believe that he would say something like that and to a baby or about a baby, and then to hit him was just, I felt like I was in another world. I was shaking.
Jessica says other passengers eventually came to her aid, and the two were given a new seat. But while Jonah is back to being a curious toddler, his parents call Hanley's actions heinous and hateful and want something to be done.
All the evidence is sufficient enough to support what we're saying, and I think that we hope he's punished as much as he possibly can be.
It's an experience the Bennetts never want to go through again, but one this family will think about the next time they fly.
I think I'll just be replaying it the whole time. Very traumatic.
Now, Kara Levin reached out to Huntley's attorney today by phone, and she told us her client will plead not guilty to federal assault charges. Huntley is facing up to 1 year in jail. Meanwhile, the Bennetts are thankful this incident wasn't any worse. Guys, back to you.
So, Dave, he's going to plead not guilty. Did the attorney say on what basis he's pleading not guilty? Is he denying all of this?
You know, we hope to learn that in the days to come here. You know, and another side note here, too, the Bennetts say they had hoped Delta, the staff on board, would have done something a little bit more to separate the two parties, but of course that didn't happen, and here's where we're at.
All right, more to come on this as the lawsuit now.
Okay, so you guys just watched a news clip, and that is such an adorable little boy. He's cute. I want to just pinch his little fat cheeks. But am I the only one watching this story thinking to themselves, how is this boy mixed, but neither parent are black? Is this her son? Is he the stepfather? I don't know. I just want to know the family's dynamic, because the child is clearly mixed, but both the parents are white. So is the child adopted? I don't know. I'm just wondering. I know I'm not the only one who's thinking that, so don't judge me. So anyways, with that being said, you know, I kind of find it funny when they say that they felt like Delta Airlines should have did more. Delta Airlines should have, you know, tried to separate them sooner. If you're going to sit in your seat quietly and try to ignore someone, how is the airline supposed to know that you're being bothered? Like I said, when he first called the baby the N-word, she should have raised hell. Because I think if she would have raised hell the first time, the situation would have been diffused. They would have moved him right away. There wouldn't have been a chance for him to call the baby the N-word the second time, let alone slap the baby. So I don't agree that it's the airline's fault. The airline cannot control belligerent passengers. Even when we were flying to Vegas, there were people who were getting drunk on the plane. They were kind of loud and rowdy. But, you know, the airline cannot control each individual person. I'm glad that other people on the plane decided to step in and help this woman out. But again, if her husband was on the plane, why didn't he step up? Why didn't he slap the hell out the old man right back? You know, I just found the whole situation crazy. It's now come out that Joe Huntley has lost his job. He was a president of an aerospace company, so he's since been fired. So this was a rich old man, and he's now lost his job. And the couple is now thinking about suing the airlines, which to me is just funny that they would sue the airlines as opposed to suing him. Not just some bum on a plane. He has money. He was a president, damn near CEO of his company. I would sue the hell out of him, not the airline, because I don't really think it's the airline's fault. You know, I think it's more that individual passenger's fault. But again, it couldn't have been one of my kids. Had he even fixed his mouth to call my child the N-word, it'd have been nipped in the bud right there and then. Point blank, period. You do not have the right to put your hands on somebody else's child, especially a 19-month-old child. You know, kids, they don't like to fly. You know what I'm saying? Some kids can handle it better than other kids. Kids like to run around, especially at 2. They're in their terrible 2 stages. And it probably hurt his ears, you know, when the whole landing and everything else, the turbulence, that can bother children. So for him to think that it's okay to put his hands on a child, let alone slap the child and call the child the N-word, no bueno. So anyways, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about the entire story. What would you have done had you been the parents? And also, do you think that it's the airline's fault that this man did that? And do you think that the airline should be sued? Or do you think that it's the individual's fault? And then also, what do you feel, you know, do you feel like the parents should have done more, like the mother and the father, as opposed to just sitting there and basically slap the child and call the child the N-word? So go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about the entire situation. All right, deuces.